Okay, lovely. Thank you for having me today. I did not think that my first challenge that I'm going to encounter is to try to wake up most of you. I think Uma has thrown that challenge a few times that I'm gonna get a sleepy crowd, but from the looks of it, that is not going to be the case. And I'll do my best to keep it that way because what I'm going to talk about today is something about change in mindset. You know, so far, I think you're having a fantastic day since morning, and you have probably learned a lot about changing mindset for a continuous technology evolution which is unprecedented in our history. So you have to continuously change your mindset to learn and adopt to this technology evolution. But I'm not sure if you have had a chance yet to talk about the mindset which is business oriented. In addition to adopting to technology mindset evolution, how do you incubate and adopt the mindset of business problem solving? So for the next 15 to 18 minutes, I'll try my best to try to give you some insights into how you can go about adopting that mindset. So, and this is where I thought I'll start. Every person who joins a company or starts a job, they are given a job title. And in my experience, more often than not, that job title defines what they do, and more importantly, over a period of time, it also defines what they think, right? Most of us limit our ability to do and think to the job titles we have. But here is a good news for all of you. That's just a job title. That's not your role. There is a fundamental difference between your title and your role. So first mindset that you need to try to incubate is, irrespective of your title, what is the role that you are expected to play in your team, in your project, in your department, in your company? And that role over a period of time must evolve from your title to a problem solver, because you will soon learn the good of a problem solver person you are, the better role you will be given in your setup. So your title is just an entry point into your career, literally. It's nothing else, it's just an entry point. But the impact that you create in your team, in your project, in your department, in your company is your role. So all the developers in your house, start moving away from your title towards what is the impact that you are able to create in your team. Next, familiar? I don't know why the animations are gone, but what do you think the world thinks of developer? What do developers do? So at my home, my parents, if I ask them what do I do, they'll say, we don't know, you're always on meetings. And they always ask me, why do you get paid to be on meetings? We have never understood. In their entire life, they have to go out of house, do certain things, and then get paid. And it has always bothered them to see me 9-10 hours a day in front of a computer screen on calls and wondering why this person is getting paid. So similarly, people who are not from technology world think that developers just sit in the dark rooms and do something on a computer screen. They write some confusing codes, they drink coffee all the day, they just complain about QAs reporting bugs in their work. But this is what developers actually do, which most people don't realize. So developers, they they try to reduce a 10-step process to a 2-step process. You know, it could be by writing code, it could be by doing automations. Developers, they try to save time. Uma has given a good example of if you have to build your resume, why not create an automation utility which can do it for you? What developers do is they bring visibility to business decisions. You know, reports, dashboards, how my business is doing, what is my cost, what is my forecast, what is my pipeline. And developers improve customer experience. You know, this website sucks versus this website is awesome. I can't seem to find anything on this website. I can easily find everything. Who does that? Developers do that. So next time if someone tells you what do you do, don't tell them I write code. Always tell them, you know, the ATM machine screen that you are using to withdraw money is what I have built. So developers, in other words, solve real problems for real people. So that's also a mindset that I would urge you to incubate, that it's not just about writing a program, solving a problem technology. Actually, behind the scene, if you zoom out, if you look at it holistically, you will always find that you are trying to solve a real problem for real people. And this is where most of the developers get stuck. You know, they get stuck in this mindset that, you know, I do coding. Writing a code is just a tool, right? Have you heard this phrase or a slang where someone said that a fool with a tool is still a fool? Have you heard that? No? With that context, so code is just a tool. A lot of people can write code. And these days, even AI can write code, right? You don't need human to write code. It's the problem-solving mindset that will differentiate a developer from someone who can write code, or a developer from AI, right? AI can't solve problem. It can't. It can write code for you, it can do things what you tell it to do, but it can't think of things that needs to be done to solve a problem. That's where the future lies. So how do you go about incubating this mindset? No, think like a user. Even before writing your first line of code, think like a user. Why I am writing this? Who is going to use it? For what? What if we don't do this? Why this is important? So as a developer, if you start asking those questions, you will start building the problem-solving mindset. Then obviously understand the context. Without the context, it's just a piece of code no one is going to use. The problem-solving mindset always asks for why, but the most important thing is empathize with the user for whom you are building a solution, right? Analyze why they need it, and then build the solution, okay? So in summary, the best solutions always start with the right questions, not with the right syntax. You can write beautiful code in a beautiful syntax. It wouldn't mean anything unless that piece of code is creating a real solution for a real problem, okay? So from today onwards, my message to all the developers in the house is, please just don't take tickets and ship out the code. No. So whenever someone says that, you know, what needs to be built, then you always ask, why we are building this? You know, if your boss comes to you and say, hey, you need to build this, okay, fine. But why? You know, help me understand, why do you want me to build this? And you will have a lot of context, and keep that context in mind, and then try to solve the problem by writing code, right? So you need to shift your mindset from Jira ticket comes in, code goes out to understand, question, and then build the solution. So in other words, trusted partners always challenge assumptions, whereas developers just write code. They don't co-create. So if you want to become a trusted partner, you need to start co-creating with your users, with your customers, to try to understand their problem and solve it. And here is an example, and again, some animations are gone from these slides. Sorry about that. So it's a very simple real-time example from my own experience. So in one of my previous teams, there was this junior developer, very sharp guy. I think he was from NIT Calicut or somewhere. So he just noticed that there was this report that has to be generated twice a week. Okay, and he being the new guy, the fresher guy, he was assigned that responsibility that, hey dude, you need to generate this twice a week. So he started doing that. Week 1 went, week 2 went, week 3 went. And then he noticed that the report was actually taking 3 minutes to load every day. And sometimes it was timing out, other times server stopped responding, sometimes it was hanging. So that 3-minute activity is usually taking an hour or more for that poor fella. And being a smart chap that he was, he, instead of ignoring it and living with that problem, he thought, let me dig a little bit to find out why this is taking 3 minutes. And then he dig deeper, and then he found that loop within the loop and some redundant logics and some unnecessary joins in the queries. He optimized those. He optimized the report load time, and then it started loading in 10 minutes with 0 failure, 10 seconds with 0 failures. And when he did that, he did not tell anyone. And after some time, one day I said, can I have that report? He said, yeah. And he just sent it me in a few minutes. And I was like, you used to take a half day or something. How come in 10 minutes? Like, did you know I was going to ask for it? That's when he showed it to me, and I was like, awesome. And when we did just a retro ROI kind of a KPI on this, we realized that it has saved tremendous amount of time. So this is again, very good example of problem solving, that problem solving is not about like creating bigger system, writing a lot of code, creating new cool features. Problem solving is about doing simple things that elevates the experience of your customer, of your user, or for that matter even yourself, right? So whenever you think of cool things, right, I have heard a lot of people say that I want to do some challenging work. Okay, what does that mean? Are you gonna build a Tesla new version, or what is it? No, it has to be challenging. So here is the news, my dear friends. If you look close enough, you look deeply in your everyday work, you will find plenty of challenges that you have been ignoring, but this smart fella did not. So the impact doesn't always come from big projects, bigger functionalities. No. Sometimes it's just a thoughtful fix that saves the day. Have you heard that very famous story on social media that there was this big cargo ship, and the engine stopped working, and the entire crew spent 10 days to find out a problem to restart the engine, and then they couldn't? And then they called someone and flew a mechanic in who was some 80-year-old chap. And then, he looked around that engine room for 30 minutes, and then he pulled out his hammer, and then just he tapped at one place like twice, and the engine started working. Everyone was so happy. And then he sent the invoice. There were 2 line items in that invoice. 9,999 for my expertise and $1 for problem fixing, right? So that is a good example that, a simple, thoughtful thing that comes from experience can save the day instead of building bigger solutions. So, from today onwards, I want you to think about yourself not just as a programmer. Okay, stop thinking as a program that you are a programmer. From today onwards, start thinking of yourselves as a problem solver or value creator, because developers create value by solving problems. Okay, I'll just skip this one. So the real value of your code is measured not in lines, but the lives and improved. I think we have given enough example of that. But the real question that you must be wondering is like, I want to be problem solver. How do I become one? Like, how do I get into this mindset of problem solving? So here are few tips for you. The first and foremost one is always ask, what is the problem that we are trying to solve? Why we need to solve it? If you ask these two simple questions, I think you'll have a plethora of context and knowledge even before you start writing your first line of code. Second, if possible, if you have an avenue, try to talk to the client or the end user just to get a feel for what is it that they are looking for. We're not talking about business stakeholders. They'll give you those hundreds of requirements. Someone who is going to use that system. If you have an opportunity, then that would be an amazing input to understand what you're trying to solve. And once you have done it, always try to measure the impact. Right? If Uma is able to build that resume builder, then Sandeep should be asking him after 1 month, how many resumes was it used for and how much time it solved. Right? Unless you do that, you'll always live in a perception that, oh, I built a cool solution, but did it really make a difference? If not, it's just a cool solution sitting in a shelf. It's not a usable solution. So why this matters now, why we are talking about this today, and why I picked this topic for this forum today is for these 3 reasons. Programmers write programs, developers write code, so is AI. Okay? But the difference between you and AI is the AI doesn't understand what is the messy business problem or human behavior, but you guys do. AI doesn't, you do, right? That's why you need to build this mindset. The next one is, tools are getting smarter. Cursor AI we talked about, other things that we talk about. But the problem with the smarter tools is they still don't know what problem they need to solve. You do. Right? They don't, you do. And finally, problem understanding is still a human strength. If AI was smart enough to understand and solve the problem, then we wouldn't be here. And AI will never be that smart enough, right? AI will be smart enough in helping us do things faster, better, quicker, in so many ways, but it's the human ability that will stay with humans, is to try to understand the problem and then think of solutions and then use AI to build those solutions. So, this is why it matters more than ever for all of you to start building the problem solving mindset from a developer's mindset. So, the next time if someone asks you what you do, and if you have listened to this session attentively, please don't say that you are a developer. Never ever say that you are a developer. Always say that you solve problems. Okay? With that, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.